Good evening, everyone. I see I have a couple people on. Go ahead and throw in your good evening so I can see who's here. I love how you guys are always on time. Hi, Mario. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. How's it going? Good night, Kenneth. Yay. Hey, Kenneth. The puppy is getting so big. He's growing so fast. Good evening. Good evening. Hi, Howard. How are you? Oh, you missed last week. I missed last week too. I had a minor emergency. I should say it was it wasn't really a minor emergency. It was an emergency, but everything is good. Okay. All right. I see that. Very good. So, Mr. McCool, let the show begin. Good evening. So, you guys see that message that our guest of honor, who we're anxiously waiting for, is running a little bit behind. I know she called me about 15 minutes ago. She was just leaving her farm. Well, not just leaving her farm, on her way home. So, the challenges of juggling multiple things at the same time. So I definitely feel her pain, and I know most of us do. So yes, we will be patient and we'll chit chat with each other till Dr. Young shows up. Hi, my brother. Everybody say hi to Dane. I made you say hi the last time. You have to say hi again. He's my. I haven't talked to you in a while, Dane. We're not being good siblings. We need to be better at talking to each other. So I have to call you one day. Check on you. How's Florida? Let's see who else is on. So again, guys, I have a message up that our honored guest is running a little bit late. And again, we all know the challenges of juggling multiple things at the same time. So sometimes we run a little bit behind. So I know you guys are patient. A lot of great information coming here. Ali Mohammed, hi, welcome. Oh, good morning. So he's in a different time zone. Awesome. Good to have you. Glad to make sure. I'm glad we're part of your morning. So glad you joined in with us. Florida is good. Dane, say hi to Howard. Howard is actually under his name, Elizabeth. So that's his wife's name. He's under his wife's sign on. All right. Everybody been good this weekend so far? We had rain today. I think we had rain all last week. And I have to say, I think, because I wasn't here most of this past week, but we had rain today and yesterday and the day before. So everything is growing really well. So it's that good amount of rain, just enough to get everything nice and wet, but not too much. So we're soaking out. So it's been good. What are the fun things that have been going on with you guys? You know who I don't see is Leona. She's always here, and I don't see her yet. Or she hasn't chimed in yet. Hi, Gary Grant. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Anybody have any good stories to tell? Jokes? Anything? From Mississauga. Yay. Hi, Connor. Hi, welcome. 2 Canadian people, or should be 3 Canadian people in the house that I know of. Welcome, Canada. Canada in the house. That's awesome. Very cool. I should say, tell Ali Mohammed, where are you? Tell us where you are. We'd love to know that because it is morning for him. So that's awesome. We definitely want to know where you are. Everybody else, go ahead and tell me where you're from. Where you're messaging from. It's always cool to see who all joins us. So we're going to have a lot of great information on AI. Yay, artificial insemination. So it's a big initiative that many of us are jumping on board with. And it's actually going to be a pretty big push in the country here pretty soon. Teddy Buford is from the UK. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Lincoln is from New Jersey. Hi, Casey. Peter McCook, big up Canada, of course. Thank you. Okay, St. Elizabeth, living in Bahamas right now. I don't think I knew that, Howard. I don't think I knew you were from St. Elizabeth. All right, so let's see, who else do we have? I'm still waiting on Ali Muhammad to tell me where he is. So I like this. The UK is on. I feel special that all you guys are here. This is awesome. Okay, Gary Grant, Jamaica, living in the Cayman Islands. This is awesome. I like this. Very cool. So Gary, do you have any goats right now? Are you thinking about doing it? What are you doing, Gary? So yeah, so this should be an interesting discussion. Again, educational. You know, I always have my pen to take notes. So you guys know I'm always writing stuff down. So I hope you have your notepad too. I have mine ready and waiting to take notes, just to make sure I don't miss anything. I missed you guys last week. Thank you for asking about me. But everybody's fine from the accident. The car is pretty banged up, but no blood, no injuries or anything. So even x-rays were fine. So that's a blessing. So we definitely thank God for that. Okay, so Gary said, yes, I do. Just started a farm in Jamaica. Okay, great. What part of Jamaica are you, is your farm, Gary? So we can make sure you're hooked up with the right people, because we have little network of individuals all over. So just in case you need additional help while you're away, we're more than willing to jump in and help. I think we need to create a map and put it where everybody's located on the map. I think that's a good idea. Who should I nominate to do that? Mr. McCook? St. Thomas. Okay, very good. Who do I know in St. Thomas? I know a couple people, but I'm not sure. So hopefully you already have your network there. If you need help finding some network people in that area, just let us know. And if I don't know it, somebody else will, and they will hook you up with a couple people you can talk to. Mario's laughing at me. Mario, where are you? I can do the map. Well, yes, but I'd like to delegate. I can't delegate today. Howard is also, yes, that is true. Howard Benjamin is in St. Thomas. I forgot about that. Very nice. See, I told you, Gary, if I just put it out there, they'll tell me who's out there. Yes, Howard Benjamin is in St. Thomas. And there's another guy named Michael Watson. He's also in St. Thomas. So, why? Oh, look, I think Dr. Young is here. Hi, Dr. Young.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. We are so glad that even though you are on the tired side, you're still going to grace us with your presence and your knowledge. So we do appreciate your time. Did you get a chance to get a snack in?
I swallowed some of the dinner.
Some of the dinner. You need some replenishment, so that's good. So we definitely appreciate your time. So take a deep breath. It's okay. We're all just chit-chatting here until you come on. So we don't want you to feel too rushed. Hi, O'Shane. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Mario says, I am in the US, but my farm is in Manchester. Awesome. Awesome. All right, good. Oh, you're welcome, Gary. All right, you good, Dr. Young?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You ready?
I'm okay now.
Okay, you're good. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys, if you don't, Leona, you made it. I was wondering where you were. So if you guys don't know Dr. Young, well, you need to know her, all right? So she is awesome, and she's been the leading, can we say the leading vet in the Jamaica? Definitely as it relates to AI, what with most, just about everything. So I'll go ahead and put that out there. No? Yeah? Okay, one of the top. We'll put you up there. All right.
I'm just me.
So anyway, but Dr. Young has a whole, you're just you. Okay, awesome. A whole lot of knowledge. Today we want to talk about AI. And it's actually a really great time to talk about this topic for two reasons. Currently, there's some discussions on the advantages of doing AI, artificial insemination, and for us to decide as a farmer, is it right for us, and when should we decide to do it? And the second reason is many of you might remember that the Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, he talked about that they're rolling out an AI embryo transfer program, which will be accessible to just about everyone. So it is a fabulous time to talk about it so that anybody who's interested, they can start learning how to put their little ducks in a row, for one of a better way to say it, to make sure that they're ready for the program. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's just pretend that most of us don't know anything and start at the beginning. What is artificial insemination?
So artificial insemination is basically taking the semen from the male and putting it into the female's reproductive tract without the use of the male. So that's basically what it is.
Okay. All right. So if anybody, what are the benefits of doing AI? If you are going to talk to a farmer and say, hey, you should consider AI, what are some of the things that you tell a farmer that are some of the benefits and advantages of doing AI?
Well, the major benefits are basically the accessibility to superior genetics. I tell farmers all the time, you have available, the farmer is never going to value his best bucks, right? He's never
Okay.
he will sell you.
Okay. All right.
So you're gonna find, like, for instance,
hold a second, Dr. Young. Hold a second. We're having internet issues. Are you close to your internet or your router? It's lagging a little bit.
I don't know if it looks okay from my end.
Okay.
Let me go into my son's room. Maybe that might be better. Let me see.
Yeah, because he probably plays video games all the time. So yes.
Is that like here's better?
It's so far it's better. So let's try right there and see how we do.
Oh, I'll have to find somewhere to sit. Hold on, let me go in.
Okay.
Let me go in my son's room.
That's okay. Like I said, we're very informal back here. So
yeah, I'm trying to find a spot to sit in my son's room. Hold on. So okay. 1 second. Let me get my
That's okay.
Charger. Whew. Let me just move somewhere. I'm lagging. Okay, let's see if this. Let me.
Yeah.
I have no idea where to sit in this child's room.
That's okay.
Yeah. And okay, well, let's see if this works.
Let's see if that's better. Okay, go ahead.
Is that better here?
So far, so good. Okay, you're still on for us. No, you're still on.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
How do I know? Oh, I can't see.
You can't see anything? We can see you. Okay, we just lost her. Okay, I'll ask her when she comes back on. All right, guys, hang tight for a second. She'll be back on in a little bit. Hi, Dallas Farms. Tiana, thanks for joining us. We're just getting started. Okay, here we go. There you go, Doctor. It is. Can you check to see if your phone is on Wi-Fi or are you on Wi-Fi?
It's on Wi-Fi.
Okay, very good. All right, so we should be better. Yeah. Let's try that. All right.
Okay, so sorry, but this is my son's rooms.
That's okay. Room, so. We're all informal. We're all family around here, so that's okay. All right.
Right. So you're gonna find that the farmer, like I said, this access to superior genetics. For instance, a lot of these bucks that we purchased, their dollar value in the US ranges from 5,000 US to 25,000 US. Right? And some can be even more. So nobody's going to sell you. First of all, majority of us cannot afford that kind of buck, right? And to me, is it really worth that kind of money? On the street, yes, it's maybe valued at that, but the value of the animal also is in the semen it can produce, right? So these are valued at that price. Again, the health restrictions in Jamaica. So access to superior semen is one of the first ones, right? Or superior genetics, right? The second thing is disease free, right?
Okay.
Semen is relatively almost negligible or zero chance of transmitting diseases. Reason being is that we collect the semen is normally put in an antibiotic type extender, and then it's transported here. Plus also the virtue of it being frozen at minus 196 means that it can also destroy some viruses and bacteria like that, right?
Okay.
So it's relatively disease free. The chances of importing a live animal, you run a lot of risks.
Yes.
A lot of risks.
Yes.
No matter what you want to say, you run a lot of risk. Because the reason is you can go and see the animal, you can vet the animal, you can do the testing. It goes into quarantine. And then again, still, quarantine is pretty good. Normally, it's controlled by the governments and all that. But then still, you don't know what the animal is carrying. And we've had several instances in Jamaica, and I've been in Trinidad too, even when I was in school, where animals break with disease after their arrival, right? Yeah. And then when they break with disease, well, that's it. That animal is normally euthanized for many reasons, right? To protect the country from its disease, its status, and also again to prevent transmission of whatever that animal might be having, right? Also, these animals normally in Jamaica will have to be kept into quarantine for 30 days minimum.
Yeah.
So there's the cost of feeding it, the cost of vetting it, the cost of the test and everything. I mean, the cost is exorbitant, right? So you have access to superior genetics. It's disease free. You can also introduce new type breeds that not are available in your country, right? That's how the Sannins are coming in, the Toggenburgs, the Kikos. We have all of that. And it's quite affordable. One of the things is it's quite affordable, like we said. The cost of the semen versus what you're getting, it's chalk and cheese. Like I said, this one of these boxes, I know his value is $25,000 US. But you're getting his semen here for, what is it? 13,500, which is like $80 US. So I don't know if you can equate that, to me. And again, there's no way anybody can buy those animals. They're not for sale. Nobody's selling them to you. Right? So to me, those are four very strong points for the use of semen versus a live animal. And yeah. That's it for me. For that.
So it's 13,500 per straw. Is that what it is?
Jamaican
per straw,
which is like $80 US, right?
Okay, all right. Yes.
So there are drawbacks. AI is not artificial insemination is not 100%. Nor is natural service. Let's
so true.
Now again, let us equate AI where you're doing one service one time with a buck who's going to jump your animal one time, right? It's not 100%, okay? And it's not that I'm defending AI. I'm just giving the pros and cons of these things. I see the balance between the two, right? So there's no 100% in AI, nor is there 100% in natural service. You do have to have a trained technician come and do it for you because it's not as simple as cattle AI, and even cattle AI has its challenges. You have to be trained in it. It's you can do a lot of damage if you're not, right? And of course, your success rate will be abysmal or very, very poor if you're not trained properly in it. Barring that, I don't know what other disadvantage I could come up with offhand like that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Those are definitely two good things to think about, because everybody always talks about the pros of it, but it's always good to talk about, okay, what can potentially happen? What are some of the negatives? So I'm really glad you brought that up. All right. So you've told me the advantages. You've won me over. You told me the disadvantages. I'm willing to gamble with that. Okay. Now, how do I know it's right for me?
Can I just add one disadvantage that so I've traveled to many farms in the last 2 years. And I followed some of the arguments, even though I'm pretty quiet most of the times. I just watch and I learn and I listen and I read. And I've seen a lot of comments about, oh, the buck is a sure thing. And I laugh a lot of the times. Nobody would know, but I'm really laughing because let me just say this. I've been to 2 farms that have bought some very expensive bucks, right? And the animals are absolutely beautiful. I cannot say no. One was a Boer buck and one was a Nubian buck. And they were the most beautiful animals you will ever see. But I have to say this, that I stood up there and I said to the owners, it was 2 different farms. I said, okay, let's just run the buck and see, if these females are in heat, really how we want to see them in heat. And I'm just going to say this to you, the bucks did nothing. They weren't even interested in the females. They ate, then they lay down. They have no libido. They have nothing. And these are beautiful animals to look at. And then one of the guys, his mom is available, right? And his mom is this. I was a little bit shocked and taken aback in both senses. And I said, oh my God, what is going on here, right? And I said, so what's the story? And the mother went off into rails of laughter. She was laughing till you couldn't stop. So I said, so moms, what's happening? She said, Doc, this is a waste of time. And I keep telling my son, he needs to sell this animal. No, he needs to curry it. So I said, well, wow, that's going to be a pretty expensive piece of curry goat. And his son is, yes, you know how much money I pay for this animal? And I'm like, dude, if you have never had a kid off of this animal and stay on your farm over a year, and all he can do is lie down and eat, and he's not doing anything, I don't care how much you paid for him. He's a waste of time.
Cut your losses.
So let's talk about those things too. Let's not just pretend that, and I've seen this for myself twice, right? And they spent upward of 200,000 on these animals. And I'm like, So that's why we ended up on the farm. So all I'm asking people is let's be fair in our arguments when we're talking about something. And don't make it out to be that something it's not. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. All right. So this is good because it gives you options, right? Because another thing that somebody else you might get questions from time to time, do you offer buck service? And we always say, no, we don't offer buck service. So if we don't,
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. We don't like it because the chances of bringing in disease from somewhere else, we don't want to deal with that. So this is a great option, like you said, for farmers to extend their herd and get better genetics. So it's definite. And then, like you said, you might have a beautiful buck and he's not working. So what's the purpose? Just to sit there and look at him? I don't know,
but within this year alone, and we reached month 6, I've seen 2 bucks like that. And I saw some last year too. So let's be frank in our discussions. And people will say, what are the odds of that happening? I don't know. I don't want it to be me. So
no. That's a very expensive pet.
Yeah, I've had rams. I've had 1 or 2 rams that just never did anything. And of course they were curried. They were made into meat. Yeah. Okay. You don't, and by the way, that is also either something is basically very wrong with that animal in the sense that it's not a health issue because I did examine him after I palpated the testicles, made sure they were even, they felt okay. He just has no libido. He has no interest. And if you have no interest, you're not going to mount. And if you don't mount, you're not going to impregnate anybody. And that's also a little bit hereditary. So I don't know if you want to be passing that along.
That's true. Very true. Very good. Very good points. Very good points. All right. So how do I know it's right for me? Me meaning I'm a farmer. I've heard about this. I've heard the pros, the cons, and I'm interested, but how do I know it's right for me as a farmer?
Okay. So AI I always say it's not for everybody and it's not for every situation. To me, the best use of AI is that a person must select the best animals in their herd for whatever particular production trait they're looking for.
There you go.
And they use those to be their recipients of semen. For instance, for me, I do milk. So I look at my best producing mothers, and those are the ones I'm going to spend the money to put the semen on, right? Coincidentally, I really don't. I have one buck on my place, and he's a Sanin cross. Barring that, I don't have bucks at my place because, well, I can do AI, so I do my own herd like that. And I found I have done significant growth on my herd with my milk production with it. So it's helped me. So to me, it's also AI can work only, or not only, it works best on well-managed herds. Okay. And when I say well-managed, I'm not talking about herds with pretty buildings and all of that. I don't care what your building looks like. I have been to some farms with, bamboo struts and thatched roofs, and they have some of the best management I've ever seen. Okay. So it's how you feed your animals, how is their nutritional plane, how you manage them, what is their disease status, how you manage their worm burdens, their parasites, how you manage disease risk on the farm, all those things. And then again, basically also, how do you handle that animal, right? And why I say that is we have been on farms where basically the people are almost abusive to the animals, in the sense that, you go through all this trouble to AI the animal and all the things you want to do with it. And then, you have a man who doesn't take his time to move the animal and is basically kicking the animal off the stand. If you're doing that, then AI is not for you, right?
No. Yeah.
If I come to a farm, you can gauge management too, simply by watching how the owners or how the workers are on the farm. If I come to a farm and I find the animals come up to me and they're easy to handle and they're not skittish, that's normally a good sign, because it says they're handled a lot and there's a lot of interaction between the owner and the animals. When they are very troublesome to deal with, it tells you the animals are normally not comfortable. And an animal that's not comfortable and is high stressed is not a good recipient for AI.
That's true.
Right? Because fertility and stress don't go hand in hand. They're opposites. Right?
Absolutely. Okay, very good. So you talked a little bit about you have to select an animal. You talk about selecting based on what your production traits are going to be. So your milk, if somebody wanted meat or genetics, they'd have to choose accordingly. But how do I select that mother? What are the things I'm looking for in that mother to decide whether she is a good recipient for AI or not?
Candidate, right?
Or candidate, that's the word.
So we do things like when we come to the farm, we look to check the body condition score of the animal, and the body condition score is on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being thin and 5 being fat, and we want them dead in the center at about a 3, where we're not seeing the ribs, we're not seeing the pelvis, the backbone. We basically a 3 means that I can't see the ribs, pelvis, and backbone. I actually have to put my hand on the animal and I'm then able to palpate the ribs. But then if I put my hand on the animal and I can't palpate the ribs, then the animal is too fat. And that's a bit of a problem too. It's very difficult to do those animals. So we want a good body condition score of about a 3 to 3.5, right? And they're on a positive plane of nutrition, meaning that they may be gaining weight or they've been flushed. And we normally recommend that about 3 to 4 weeks before we start the program. You flush your animals, higher protein, higher energy diet, right? So that, again, that helps with your ovulation rate. It works really well with your ovulation rate, right? So good plane of nutrition, good body condition score, disease-free, right? We don't want to come and see a whole lot of lumps and bumps on them and then they have a big snotty nose, or they have a vaginal discharge, or they have lice and mange. That's not going to work either. So disease-free. We used to say before we wanted them to have at least 1 kid first. But we have gotten very good at doing the virgin animals now. We've got new catheters and new equipment to do this stuff. So we can do the virgins and the first time pregnant mummies. Right? Well,
I didn't know that.
Once they've had babies. Yeah. But
Okay, that was
when we
new.
do so we've added that now this year. Every time things are changing all the time,
That's good to know.
and training changes. So
Mm-hmm.
we found new catheters and new ways of doing it. Also, what we do is we actually look at the pelvic girth of the animal. So I kind of use my hand and try and estimate what is the width behind the animal. Normally, if they're wider than my fingers, then I'm comfortable with it, because
Mm-hmm.
it means that the animal has the capacity to pass a bigger kid,
Okay.
right? All these bucks that we have, most of them, except for maybe the sardines and the Toggenburgs, those are smaller, and alpines are smaller breeds. Those boar bucks and those Nubians are rather large. The average
Mm.
weight on some of them is 250, 300 pounds. And
Okay.
if your animal doesn't have that pelvic girth, it's going to be you're going to run yourself into some problems, I think, passing that
Okay.
kid. And I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be called to do any C-sections unnecessarily.
That's true. Okay.
What else we said? What else? So disease free, um, can be any age now, a virgin or
Mm-hmm.
not.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's good
virgins
to
do
know.
take a little more time. They do take a little more time and a little more effort. And we do normally charge like maybe about $1,000 more, because of the equipment we have to use and the different catheters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what did I say? Disease free, body condition score of about a 3.5, meaning well conditioned, positive plain and nutrition. And like I said, doesn't matter now whether they have a baby or not to us.
Okay. So the positive plane of nutrition, basically you want everybody to beef up probably their grain intake then, and what else you want to beef up to get their up to?
Well, it doesn't have to be grain. It has to
Okay.
be an increasing amount of energy and protein.
Okay. For
And the
example.
only way in Jamaica, for me, as far as
Mm-hmm.
I know, unless you're gonna all of a sudden get a whole lot of Leucemia and mulberry, find that some way and get tons of that, the only
Mm-hmm.
way to do it would be with grains, right?
Okay.
Commercial
All right.
grains.
Mm-hmm.
But if
All right.
you, or maybe getting alfalfa would help.
Mm-hmm.
Alfalfa is a really good source of forage in protein and energy. But
Mm-hmm.
then you'd have to buy alfalfa pellets. So to me, alfalfa pellets, grain, what's the difference? They're about
Mm-hmm.
the same, you
Okay.
know?
All right. Very good. All right. So we've selected our animal, and they're in good body condition. We've flushed them for 3 to 4 weeks, increased their energy, increased their protein. They're in good condition. Okay. Go ahead.
One
Go
more
ahead.
thing, we also
Uh-huh.
ask that they honor free choice minerals, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Reason is because the free choice minerals, again, you need the right balance in your nutrition. You want to make sure that nothing is lacking, no deficiencies, right? Because if you have copper deficiency, you have zinc deficiency, you have all
Mm-hmm.
these different things, deficiencies decrease fertility. And in our free choice minerals, there is a vitamin E and selenium. Both are
Okay.
very good, especially selenium, very good towards a positive fertility rate. So you want to make sure they're on that free choice mineral about a few weeks before too.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So can you walk us through the steps of all the different things you just did it our farm, but you guys just did it for us. So walk through all the steps of let's see, what did Dr. Patrick do first? No, I don't remember. What was his first thing he did? And then a week later, Stanley and them came, and then a week later, you guys came. So walk us through all the steps that happens in the whole process.
Oh, so the first time, well, it depends on whether it's a farm we have a lot of knowledge of or it's a
Mm-hmm.
new farm.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a farm that we have a lot of knowledge, um, and we know the condition of the animals, then we're pretty safe with starting on the first visit, because
Okay.
if we have knowledge of the animals, then we'd say, okay, we know this farmer feeds a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the body condition would be, we know our farms very well. So we'd say, okay, his body condition is fine. So the first visit, like I said, first in the sense to start the process, um, would be to ultrasound to make sure they're not pregnant. And
Mm-hmm.
again, you can tell me a million times over, Doc, I have these animals are not pregnant. I've never exposed them to the buck. I'm still gonna check.
Still
Why?
check.
Because we've had a few occasions where I've had a farmer tell me, "Oh, I've never exposed my animal to the buck. No buck is there," and I've checked, and almost 50% of them were pregnant. Okay, so it happens. You have a rogue buck that gets away, and again, it depends if you're on the farm or you have people working with you.
That's true.
If you have people working with you, even on my farm, and I got really upset about it, even on my farm, I was absent for about 2 weeks, and we had started a program, and the guy said to me, I said, "No buck, right?" "Well, I don't have any bucks. I had 2 little curry goat guys, right?" And I said, "No buck, right?" No, Miss Gabby, no, Miss Gabby, no, Miss Gabby. I was stupid enough, and I made that own mistake too. I was stupid enough that I did not check. Well, 5 of them were pregnant and aborted.
Wow.
So once we start the program, I was stupid. So I'm just saying, I do stupid things too, right? I listened to what they said, and guess what? It's either the curry goat got to them, or when they went out, every now and then we let them out to go roam and have fun. Somebody's neighbor's curry goat could have gotten to them too.
Absolutely. Those curry rams, those curry bucklins are sharp. And they start early.
They are awesome. They are awesome guys. Let me tell you that, right? Because I'm telling you, you're never going to have a curry ram that doesn't perform. I can tell you that, right? So we always check to ultrasound. We still, just as a fail-safe, even though you tell me no, I'm still going to check, because when that abortion happens, I don't feel good, and then you don't feel good, right? So we're going to check with ultrasound on the first occasion to start syncing. When I say first, to start syncing, and then we put in a progesterone implant in the vagina, right? If everything is good and they're not pregnant. Then we do programs from 7 days to 14-day programs, depending on location and what is happening with us also. So the implant can stay anywhere from 7 to 14 days, depending. So the second visit now would be to pull that implant and then administer 2 drugs, right? And then the third visit, which is normally 48 to 52 hours later, we do the AI. So everything is normally completed anywhere from 9 to 16 days.
Okay. All right. That's a good time frame. And then do you guys come back in, like, say, a month, like maybe a 2-month mark to double check to make sure? Okay. No, that's fine.
Correct. We come back at 42 days and we do a preg check. Anywhere from 42 days onward. Again, it depends on our schedule. We might come 6 weeks, or we might come 8 weeks. If we're not going to be in the area, we're not just going to come to preg checks. It's not efficient for us like that. So we'll schedule everything. So we try to be as efficient as possible.
Okay. Now, what do you recommend? My goat gets AI, and they're in the program, and everything's running. How would you recommend that I take care of that goat? I mean, you talked about general care in the beginning, but do I need to do anything extra, or just what do I need to do to make sure I'm good?
Right. So when you're finished now, when we're finished, we always put in it, please maintain a stress-free environment. Now is not the time when you did an AI, right after you do AI. Now is not the time you want to go do hoof trimming, vaccination, air tagging, lice treatment. You just wait, right? Once the pregnancy passes, especially right after AI up until about 21 days, what we call maternal recognition of pregnancy, that embryo is going to, if it gets fertilized, it's going to float around in there until day 16 after AI or even natural service. That is when you have the most loss of pregnancies. So if you decide within a week after you're going to go run down the animals and stress them out and all, there's nothing anybody, whether it's natural service or AI, can help that. You're probably going to lose the pregnancy. So we ask that you maintain the animals in the same environment that they are. Don't stress them. Don't do anything with them. Just leave them be until we come back at 6 weeks.
Okay. Very good. But then
very important. No adjustments at that time. No adjustments in your feed. No adjustments in anything. That 42 days is very critical.
Okay. All right. That's good to know, because a lot of people think he can go back to normal, and even something as simple as hoof trimming. Some people
Nope.
might realize that's very stressful on the animal at that time, so it's not a good time to do it. Okay, that's very good to know. All right, awesome. So what about housing? Any special housing other than just keep them in the same area? Nothing
No.
special, and the minerals available, water, just a standard stuff that's going on. Okay.
No
All right.
loss of water, no loss of minerals, all of that. Just
Mm-hmm.
feed the same way, do
Mm-hmm.
everything the same way. And it
Very
doesn't
good.
have to be any special housing. Just maintain them in the same good conditions
Mm-hmm.
that you did to get them to that point.
Okay. So Trisha is asking, what free choice mineral gives the best results?
Well, I can only answer that one way because I only use one free choice mineral. I use a Nutravit free choice mineral because that's what I use.
Mm-hmm.
And it has high levels of vitamin E, selenium, calcium. It's a well-balanced vitamin and mineral. It has all the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and E, and it
Mm-hmm.
has all the macro and micro minerals. That's the only one I use. And when I first started using it, I'm gonna be honest, I got within 5 months, I got a 30% boost in my fertility.
Nice. Okay. That's good to know. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, gosh, at that we went through all my questions really fast. You guys have any questions for Dr. Young? Because she did such a great job of explaining all of it so quickly. Any other questions that you guys have? Somebody's saying same for pigs. Do you do AI for pigs as well, Dr. Young? Okay.
We
All
do
right. So,
AI on every livestock species possible. We do pigs, we do cattle, we do sheep, we do goats.
mhm.
Um, we don't do chickens. We don't need to do chickens.
Okay.
Um, we've done some rabbits too, dogs.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you to get to be sign up for AI, how would they do that? Just call Nutrimix, or how does that work?
Yeah, just call Nutrimix at
Mm-hmm.
922-2606 and
Mm-hmm.
just ask to speak to Kelly. And
Okay.
Kelly makes all the arrangements and stuff for us.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Let's if anybody is there still a minimum of 6 animals to begin the program?
Kind of, pretty much, yeah. It's, I mean, it all depends on location too.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in Clarendon, right next to my farm, we'll make an exception and we can do less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody lives in Hanover. None of us live in Hanover, so you're gonna find that, yeah. And but what I find works really well though, and you know, I have to big up the Saint Anne guys for that, like Neil Shand and Dane Brown, those guys. They work
Mm-hmm.
very well with their little cluster, right? In
Mm-hmm.
that Dane might have 3 animals, Neil has 3 animals, the guy down the road has 5 animals. So if you don't have all 6, why not ask your neighbor? You're gonna find a lot of them are interested. So we've done well in Saint Anne with that, and their
Mm-hmm.
cluster works really well, and we just come and breed everything. So in the end, in one day, we might have 12, 15 animals doing. There's a section in Little London too. Those guys work really well together. Same thing
Nice.
they're doing too. One has 6, one has 5. We do everybody together at the same time. Same thing that we did with y'all on your own, Trudy. We
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
some by y'all, and then we went down the road and did another guy's own. So, you know, it's just about communicating as farmers, and people have to understand, as you realize, it's 4 visits to get this done. 4.
Yes.
Who's paying for that gas and diesel and the people to come? It's at a cost, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why we kind of have to make sure it makes financial
Sense.
sense to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, especially if you're going far, I mean, it's just that whole time of driving all the way out there. So you really want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
it's worth your while. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
Gary, 6 is the magic number, but we would recommend that you find, if you don't have 6 yourself, work with other people in your area,
Mm-hmm.
and come up with a group that you can work
Mm-hmm.
with. All right.
Yeah.
Teamworks always makes things easier. It definitely does. All right. So hello guys. What did I miss? I want to do AI on 30 does in Kenya. Okay, Dr. Young, you ready to travel to Kenya? Don't think so just yet, right?
Sure. Oh, well, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm good.
Okay, all right, so you'll be good.
Sure.
Okay, all
Why
right.
not?
So
I always
Paul,
wanted, my dream was actually, I know why I got stuck in Jamaica. You can ask my husband. That's how I got stuck
mhm,
in Jamaica. But my dream was actually, when I left that school, was to go work for National Geographic and go run up and down somewhere in Africa and shoot pictures and get killed by a lion or something. So sure, I'd love to come to Kenya. I have no
okay.
problem with doing that.
That's awesome. So, Paul, we will get you in touch with Dr. Young and see what you guys can work out. That should be very interesting. I like that. See, we like this platform. We help people all over the world. Okay. Any other question, guys? Here's your chance because this is, like I said, this is a big initiative. And if you guys want to get in when the minister rolls this out, or even if you just want to get in on your own with Dr. Young, this is a good time to improve your genetics on your farm and get new blood in. Because I think one of the big problems, let's see, who was just here? I'm going to tell you his name in a second. But anyway, one of the big challenges we have in Jamaica is that we're just circulating the same genetics over and over and over
Yeah.
again. So we really need an influx of new genetics to help boost the industry and give us better blood and more
Yeah,
blood. And
I'm the first to say, listen, Jamaica has some really nice goats. No,
mhm,
no lie, right?
mhm,
Jamaica does have some really nice goats. But if we want to continue growing and we want to continue doing this better and improve,
mhm,
I don't see any other way, right?
mhm.
I was on the FAO project in 2010 and then an FAO, another one in 2014, different projects, but for Jamaica, 2010 and then 2014. And um, the cost of bringing in live animals and then the faux pas that happened,
Mhm.
it's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
The cost was landed in Jamaica, 3,000 to 3,005 US dollars per animal. And let me just say, they were nice animals. Some of them were really nice,
Mhm.
but again, when they landed here, they looked like crap. I mean, they had a really rough time. The flights, the quarantines, the
Yeah.
everything. And people can make all that kind of comments and say that this and that shouldn't happen. But it was a
Mhm.
good initiative. They were trying to bring in animals and they really tried their best, but it
Mhm.
was really rough, right?
Yeah.
Um, and to say that we, a lot of people who told me who have the AI offspring now, the ones from the 2019, that when we started with the first set of semen, I really think when you see them, you know them. A lot of the
Mhm.
times I've been on farms, I come back follow up. It's almost a year plus later now. And I would turn to the farmer and say, that's an AI, that's an AI. He said, yeah, because they look that much different. They have
That's true.
they have better conformation, they have
Mhm.
better growth rates, and they just look different, right? And
Mhm.
again, with the Sam Golding and the B&D genetics, I think that's even gonna be
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to be the bomb. It's going to be an explosion when those
Mhm.
start hitting the ground, which will be, I think by the end of this month, we should have some hitting this ground,
Nice.
hitting the ground,
Nice. It should
right?
be good to see
And
those. Yeah.
yeah, and those are going to be even better, I think, right?
Mhm.
And that's what we have to understand. This is not hitting anybody. It's just the fact is we have a closed population of animals.
We do.
How are
We
we
do.
gonna keep improving if we don't bring in new stuff? So,
Yeah.
we have new boars, new lines of boars. He has a traditional boars and he has four different lines,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
BND has boars, the two, the dappled and the red. But we have boar semen, Nubian semen, um, Kiko semen,
Mhm.
Sanin, Toggenburg. And there's some alpine also at Bodles, right? And then when the sheep, we have the Dorper, we have the Katahdin, and we have a Charlie sheep,
That's
right?
good.
And then the
So basically,
cattle,
whatever you want to do, yeah, you have
yeah,
options. You have
yeah.
several different
We have
options.
milk lines and we have meat lines, right?
Okay.
And I mean, it's just something we have to understand. This is the way the world is going. When I went to pick up this semen the first time,
Mhm.
you know, Oral Wallace was with me, and we're driving. We had to go all the way to Mobile to pick up this tank because I didn't really trust anybody to take the tank. So we went there and we're driving back. And his quote was about, I think, really sealed it for me how important this was. Because the tank was behind it couldn't, he's a big guy, right? So it had to go behind my seat because I'm a little shorty. And he says to me, he says, Doc, you realize where we reach in this world now? I said, what? Because it was late in the night too. I said, what? He says to me, look at that. Behind us is over 600 straws. And we have embryos in there too, right? Okay. So he said, behind us is 20 embryos and 600 straws of semen. So in other words, we have, in inverted commas, we have 600 potential animals in the back of, sitting behind me in a tank, that's about the size of the tank of a small gas tank. That's the size. Nice. Look at that. That was transported all over the world. Yeah, yes. That to me was like,
very impressive. Yes. Yeah. And just to think what it can do for the industry is even more impressive. So we definitely need that injection of new stuff for one, and new genetics is really the best way to say that. All right. So what is a normal conception rate in Jamaica based on your experience?
Okay. So I have to answer that in kind of like two parts. When we started off, our conception rate was really good, actually. Phenomenal, right? We were averaging about 70% average with a range of about 50 to 90%, right? Well, actually 95%. We got a good 95% on about 3 farms, right? And those were actually some big numbers we were doing on those farms. When we as it went along, our numbers started going down a little bit. Where we got we have had 2 zeros, right? 2 zeros at that time. And your farm was 1 actually, right?
It's okay, we weren't gonna say anything.
Why hide? It doesn't mean it's not hiding. It's the reality of what happened.
Yeah, it is reality.
Right? And and when we evaluated, we know certain things that we maybe could have done differently. And then also we do believe that heat is a factor, right? We looked over the records, we looked over many things, and heat is a factor because we found that from July to August to September, the results tended to you just saw a steady decline going down. And back when it went back to November now, stuff started coming up again. So I had a discussion with Albert Ferron about it, because I went to the last project we had, that was 2010 to 2012, where we worked for 2 years on this project. The average is 50%. It was actually 50.4%, whatever the hell you call it, but 50%, right? And again, on some farms, we got really good results. Some farms, you didn't get so good results, So it averaged at about 50%. And I think so right now, the average is about 50%. We started off with a big bang and things were really swell. Then it started to taper off a little bit. Okay. So we have to look at that and try and see. But so Albert and I had a great discussion about it. He does say to me, Gabby, there's a little bit of seasonality, how much it affects Jamaica because it's nearer to the equator, and we are kind of online like with Texas and those southern states. There is a little bit of seasonality. How much, I'm not sure. Okay. And again, as we go along, we're gonna see. I think as we go along and we get better at what we do, it's gonna just be better and better. And then again, the protocols and the drugs have changed. When I started in 2010 to what we're doing now, it's a little bit different. And the protocols from the data suggest we should get better results.
Okay. And I think the education too is going to help. Now that people we're all more trained, even the farmer itself, and we know what to do and we're spreading that information. And I think as a whole in the country, we're going to do a whole lot better with this new.
Well, you see, farmers need to be realistic too. Remember I said to you, Trudy, that we do all the visits, we do all the shots, And I think we're going to have to start backing off from that a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
we just cannot do it. And there's not enough of us, right? We just can't do everything. And I mean, Sam Golding talks to me all the time, and he says, Gabby, we spoil our farmers. He says it all the time. He says, Gabby, you spoil those guys in Jamaica. I said, why? He says, because in the US, and I know that because I worked in the US for 3 years. In the US, we don't do that. The farmer's responsible for his own drugs and dosing and doing everything. He either follows the program or he doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
don't want that. We want good results, so we do pander to the farmer a little bit, but I think farmers need to take a little more responsibility too for what's
That's true.
happening on their farms, and they're gonna have to start doing some stuff, because we just can't do it anymore. Truly, we're stretched really thin.
Yeah. All right. And right, everybody needs, and a part of it is cultural, right? We're so used to everything, a lot of us, being handed out, and so now we
Mm-hmm.
have to take more responsibility. It's just that's all it boils down to. If we want to grow, we can't grow with you guys having to do everything. We have to do a lot on our own as
Yeah.
farmers. So,
I mean,
all right.
certain farmers we know can do the shots, so we left it with y'all, right? And we said, okay, you're
Yes.
gonna
Yeah.
have to do this, because
Mm-hmm.
we can't come in the middle of the night to do it, and that's when it needs to be done. So guess what? And I mean, Sam Golding says to me, Gabby, when we do an AI program or an embryo transfer program, we do all the shots, we do everything. We then load our animals up in a van or trailer. We
Mm-hmm.
drive to the facility. The animal gets AI'd or flushed or whatever. Then they put the animal back in the trailer for me, and then they say they go bye bye,
Good luck.
right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Good and bye bye,
Good luck.
and that's it. They don't even
Yeah.
care what happens to you after, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I don't know.
Yeah, but we have less. I'd say we are not as experienced as a whole too. So we do need a little bit more hand holding until everybody gets to a higher level where we're more used to being responsible for what we have to do. And so I think we're going through that growing phase right now. So in a little bit,
Yeah,
you can hand
and
over the keys and,
right,
and
and
let us.
we're doing that a lot more now. We're doing,
Mm-hmm.
because again, more. We change the protocols a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and with again the data shows, and we should have some results within the next month, because we've
Okay.
done a lot of herds, and we should see what the conception rate is going to be.
We would love to hear what that is. So, what's the
So,
average cost to do 6 animals with the top semen?
so what we did is we just worked a unit cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's 16,500. That includes the semen, which is 13,500, and the drugs,
Okay.
right? And the disposables. By the way, the disposables too. The needles, the syringes, they're everything. So 16,500 per animal. You
Okay.
multiply by whatever number you want to do it by.
All right. Very good. That's easy. All right. Let's see. When will embryo? Oh, here's another. Oh, hold on. I'll switch back here. Would native does be a good candidate for AI?
Native does, yes, that have a good pelvic girth, that have a good size,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then again, it depends on what semen you're choosing. Native does for what? For meat production. So if it's for meat production, you're probably looking at a boar or a Nubian. Not too sure. They're gonna have to be pretty big. They're gonna have to be big and have a good, like I said, a good dry foods. We're gonna check the pelvic girth of that
Mm-hmm.
animal and see how wide it is. If it says you're looking more towards the milking lines, like a Sanin or the Kikos tend to be big too. The Sanin or the Toggenburgs, you can probably get away with those. Those are not as wide and a beefy breed, so you can probably get away with those. I put Sanin semen on my native does, one or two that I have, and they were able to carry them fine.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, I
Nice.
have 4 babies.
Oh, congratulations. Yay.
Yes.
I need to come visit again. It's been a while. When will embryo transfer be available to farmers?
So embryo transfer was done in 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under
Mm-hmm.
2 programs. We did a big sheep program, and a lot of the sheep in quite a few sheep at Bodles are there. They're the direct embryos and offspring now. So embryo transfer has been done already. And then we did the goats too, where we flush the boars and we have offspring there too. It just came to a halt because there was no money, nobody wanting to, the government paid for all of these things. And the animals were there, boodles. Some of them are still there. So there's no money for it. This is something we're going to do, both for myself privately. And then Nutrimix we're in the process of doing it now.
Okay. All right. So hang tight. It's
but
coming soon.
That's a whole different level of cost. Okay. People need to understand that. That's a whole different level of management and a whole different level of cost.
Absolutely.
Right? You're looking at embryos. The average cost of an embryo, just the purchase cost, is $400 US. That's not the landed cost, the purchase cost. So when we brought in the embryos, the landed cost by time tax, duties, whatever else the government put on it, it was basically 90,000 Jamaican dollars per embryo.
Okay. Whole different ball game.
So that's a whole different different level of cost, whole different ball game.
Awesome. Does the Ministry of Agriculture have a program like this?
Like what? Like what? Which one?
The AI I think we're talking about I think you just mentioned the AI program.
Hello? I just lost you. I'm sorry.
You lost me?
Not hearing.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Nope. No audio?
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you. Guys, can you hear either of us? Can you guys hear us?
I don't know what happened. No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Maybe the thing died.
Guys, tell us who you can hear. Can you hear Dr. Young? Can you hear me? Yours. Yes. You can hear me, Mr. McCook. Can you hear Dr. Young? Yes.
Me?
Hearing both of you. They're hearing both of us. So Dr. Young, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So the question was, does the Ministry of Agriculture have a similar program? And I think he's referring to the AI program.
They have a similar program. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, they have a similar program for cattle only. No, I shouldn't say cattle only. They have a similar program for cattle, and that's been going on since 1940, by the way. So they have a whole AI stud for cattle. They have an AI lab. That's where I do a lot of the work sometimes when I get a chance to. I go there, we collect semen and all of that. I've done a lot of that for the government and for private farmers. Stupidly free of cost, I think. But anyway, I did. Right? And reload. Oh, it says reload. That's what I should have done. Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. We lost her again. All right. So Darren says only government can and should take the... Okay, here she is.
I don't know.
All right,
sorry.
There you are. No. That's fine.
Hello?
We're here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for cattle, it's been going on since 1940. During the 2010 project, we trained over 40 people, but only 12 I would call competent, that I would feel comfortable letting them loose on the public. And some of those guys still do cattle AI, goat AI when it's requested. But again, they haven't practiced for a while. So if you don't practice, you lose your touches sometimes.
If you don't use it, you lose it. So you have to practice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Darren said only government can and should take care of the cost of embryo transfer. Do you want to comment on that?
Wait. I can't. What did he say? I'm sorry. I didn't get the question.
Only government can and should take care of the cost of embryo transfer.
I don't know what that means, but private people have done it. I don't know if the government can and should. I think farmers need to. You want something, do it. That's my theory. I'm sorry. Yeah. By the way, again, there was a guy called Ken King. He was the first one, apparently, in the 90s who did ET in sheep. He brought a
Wow.
guy in from the US and he did ET and sheep here. And he
Mm-hmm.
brought in Suffolk, I think, Suffolk embryos and some Dorpers. So he was
Okay.
actually the first one. I should have said that. Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
the government
Yeah.
has done it. So yeah. And the project went well. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
purebred Catardans, purebred Dorpers down there.
Mm-hmm.
We did some purebred. We did a nice project with Australia where we flushed goats and embryos, transferred embryos into the boar goats down there at Borders, and they had offspring. So
That's good. All right. So it's always a touchy subject, right? Some people say the government should, and other people are like, well, no, we need to be responsible for ourselves. So it's going to be an
yeah.
ongoing discussion on either side of the fence. All right. Are you still doing any training on AI now?
In which species?
Goat and sheep are most of my people online. Let's go there.
I we can do that, I guess, if somebody's
Hmm.
interested. But
Hmm.
um, for me, I think the training. I mean, I've trained people in Guyana, Barbados, Saint
Hmm.
Lucia, Saint Vincent, Dominica, a lot of places I've trained people. St. Vincent has done well with it. St. Lucia has done well with it. Guyana has done well with it. It really boils down to the individual.
Yeah.
Um, and it has nothing to do. I think vets are better prepared because they have the training. But
Hmm.
I have known some very good livestock technicians. Like we have Stanford is A class,
Stanny.
right? Stanny is
We
A
love
class, and so is
Stanny.
all the guys working with us are trained in it and they're really good.
Hmm.
But it's something truly, let me just caution people, like cattle AI, you have to know what you're doing. So
Hmm.
yes, I can train you, but there's some people that just maybe cannot be trained too. If you have four thumbs instead of two, maybe that's not for you, right? Some people are very practical skilled and very good at things, and some people
Hmm.
are academic. So it really depends on the individual. That's
Absolutely.
how I'd
And
answer that question. And
yeah.
again, we need to understand, if you don't do it right, you can actually damage the person, either your animal or the person's animal.
I know.
So a lot
Hmm.
of the training for my guy, for the guy, the team, happened
Hmm.
on my farm. I sacrificed my own animals. But guess what? I was there standing up over them, and they damn well
Hmm.
know that they better not do anything to my animal, right? So,
Hmm.
they were trained at my place, and we did
Yeah.
a lot of that and breeding at my place. And, I had a few friends who were willing to up their animals for their training. So, that's different. If you want to be trained maybe to do your own animals, I can maybe help you with that.
Hmm.
But that's not gonna. I'm gonna say it's not gonna be for free.
No. And then
No.
sometimes you have to leave the professional work to the professionals because you can't effectively do everything. You're already managing a farm and have all these other things to take care of. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you want the dentist to clean your teeth? Because yeah, you can, but you're not going to do as good a job. So some things are just better left to the professional, I think.
Well, we've had. So I'm gonna tell you too. We've had. I have seen some horror stories. Right when I'm training people, where
Hmm.
if you don't angle the speculum right, and if you don't know the anatomy of what you're looking at, you end
Hmm.
up putting the AI rod into the animal's bladder instead of
Oh.
its uterus, instead of its
Hmm.
cervix. And if
Hmm.
you do that, you're gonna have a dead animal.
Okay. All right.
Same with cattle. If you end up putting it in the bladder instead of the cervix and you push too
Hmm.
hard, you rupture the
Hmm.
bladder and that's it. If you end up not putting it in the cervix and you're poking yourself around in this hole,
Hmm.
you're going to do some damage, right? Not
Wow.
a lot of damage, but still, it's somebody, and I always believe in do no harm, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what our oath is, do no harm. So I
Do
try to
know
do
her.
no harm. So
Okay.
I'm going to be very cautious how I answer that statement. It depends on who the individual is.
It depends on the individual because I see Jody Swaby says he's very I'm up for training Dr. Young. So I think there's some people that they have the aptitude for it and they would be good at doing
Thank
it.
you.
That won't be me. I
Well,
will leave that to
exactly.
you, Dr. Young. But
Exactly. I mean that's the reality of it. Some people have
yes.
the aptitude. I have
Hmm.
trained vets who have 10 thumbs and they just couldn't do it.
So,
And then I've trained AI technicians who are A class.
mm-hmm.
And then,
That's great.
actually, some of the best breeders or AI technicians or
Mm-hmm.
people who do AI are very calm people. They tend to
Yes.
be the ones who don't talk too much. They tend to be the ones that are just very calm and very mellow, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
say anything. So that's total opposite to me. But anyway,
That's good. All right. Somebody said, Jody, stick to carpentry. That's funny. Okay, guys, any other? And Dr. Young, you've given us a lot of very, very good information. I'm trying to see, you guys have any other questions? I thought there'd be more questions. I thought everybody be shooting all their questions off tonight, Dr. Young. You're kind of getting off easy today.
that's
I think
okay.
because you did such a good job. You did such a great job of explaining up front that I don't see. Guys, did I miss any questions that you have for Dr. Young? Here's your chance. And I know she's tired too, so we don't want to hold her too long either. We don't want to overstay our welcome. So, Dr. Young, any words? I'm very good with my fingers, so I probably could. That's Santiago done. So there are a lot of people that want to be trained. You might have to start a new side job, as if you don't have enough to do. Training
Well, you
people
see,
to do AI.
and let me just say, I think the issues are, well, if you want to do it for your own farm,
Mm-hmm.
no problem. Nobody can tell
Mm-hmm.
you anything what you can do on your own farm. And coincidentally, that's exactly why I went into the farm too, because I came back with all this training and knowledge. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, where am I going to eat here, goat? Or where am I going to eat here, sheep? Or how am I going to do AI? Because nobody wants, I did try to advertise. I did try for people to do the services. Nobody was interested. Everybody was just like, I don't know about that. That stuff is not going to work. Coincidentally, that was a really funny story because when the 2010 project for FAO started, a lot of the farmers, and I dare say some of the, what you all say, the big farmers, some of
Mm-hmm.
that everybody knows very well. It's quite funny. There was a big ruckus when the FAO technical team said they wanted to do artificial insemination. And a lot of these big farmers that a lot of said, and and they can argue with me all they want because they remember, they said, oh, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. We just want live animals. We did it. And they said, the FAO held their ground and they said, we're not doing that
Mm-hmm.
because you have to use, you see, a lot of these projects go with the premise that they want applied technology,
Okay.
right? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
doing something? Why are we doing the same thing over and over? Let's try. And again, truly, we need to get through our heads. Why is it that Europe and the US and Australia and all of these places are doing so well? They apply technology.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They went through the same teething pains. They
Yeah.
started off with maybe a 10% retention rate of people using, and now it's like commonplace
Yeah. It's
because
like
it
second
takes time.
nature.
Don't believe it doesn't build time. So when we talk to the farmers and we went to these meetings, there was a whole lot of cascas and quarreling. I just sat. I didn't know many people at that time, so I just sat quietly and watched while the cussing went on and all the rest of it. And they refused to. They said no, and the FAO held their ground. And the
Mm-hmm.
seamen came in, and then we started the program. And one of the farmers, I don't even know if he's watching, but I always remember this because he said to me when he saw the offspring that he got, Doc, if I knew this program would have worked, I would have given you I would have given you the better animals. So I said to him, so then what did you give me? He said, I gave you the culls.
Wow. There you go.
Yep.
Honesty is the best
Yep.
policy, and you made it work with the Coles. So there you go.
There you go.
So
Yeah, but yeah, but if he was more open-minded,
yes,
what
you
would
would
have
have had
been
much
his
better
genetic
results.
gain? What
Mm-hmm.
have been his genetic gain? Not just the pregnancy, truly. We need to get past just the pregnancy. We have to
Yeah.
look at the genetic
I think.
gain of using his best females with this
Mm-hmm.
really top. At that time, we were using this Tarawina burger semen out of Australia.
Okay.
What was his genetic gain have been if we had used his top females with Tarawina burger semen, not
It would
his
have been
culls?
amazing. It would have been amazing.
He lost his opportunity there.
Well, hopefully you learned his lesson.
I don't think he did, but anyway, that's okay.
Which vet covers St. James from Nutrimix?
Gilbert Williams, Dr.
Okay.
Gilly.
Dr. Gilbert Williams. So Andrew, you can just call what's the Nutrimix number again? Because I need to put it out there for, it's
922, right,
872.
876 222606
Okay.
to 10 and goes all the way to 10.
All right. Because I see Leona wants to get in touch with you, and she's in the BVI, British Virgin Islands. All right.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah. So Leona, 876-922-2606 to 10 is Nutrimix number, and just tell them you want to talk to Dr. Young. And if you don't get her that way, contact us and we'll get in touch with get you in touch with her either way.
I'd actually like to say something too, Trudy. There's a I don't have to say misconception. There is I keep saying this to farmers because I heard somebody ask who is the vet for the Western region, right? And that's Dr. Gilbert, right? We do not do ambulatory services. So let me explain what that means, right? Because you see this thing about, oh, I call the vet and the vet didn't come. We don't do that. We do not. If you want ambulatory services, or let me rephrase it in Jamaican terms, cow sick, come quick. We don't do that because the fact is we cannot. We are normally booked out 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Everybody has a schedule which they provide, and everybody, again, to be efficient, if we're coming in, let's say we're coming in your area, Trudy, we whop up all the farms in that area one time, right? So they might do 3-4 farms in that area, depending on what the need is, right? And then they're done with that area for another 2-3 weeks, right? If you have an emergency problem with your animal, don't call us. We can normally not help, because if one in Hanover, one in St. Thomas, and one in St. Anne, we can't help you if you're in St. Catherine. It's not going to work. So I have put up a million times, now a million's exaggeration, quite a few times, the Find a Vet poster, which gives you the vets for, if you want, I can send it to you. Again,
yes, please do.
Send not to you. I meant I put it up in the Progressive, the Livestock, all of those sites.
Okay, we can.
It's according to parish. They give the list of the vets according to their parishes and what they will do. In other words, if they only do small animal, or if they do farm animals, because we just can't do it truly. There's only 3 vets on our team, and then 3 livestock specialists, and we can't. So this thing about, and again, this free vet service, it's not free. We need to get it. It's not necessarily free. It's a complimentary service. Okay, complimentary service, but it's not free. It comes at a cost to somebody.
Yes. So there's your answer, Trisha. Trisha was asking that. Is there a cost for a Nutrimix vet to visit a farm? If yes, how do they charge? It's a complimentary service if you use Nutrimix feed. Am I saying that right? Or am I not? Am I speaking out of turn?
We'll come to you if you use other feeds too. We'll come to you too if you use other feeds too. Yeah, you may not be a priority, but you will come. We'll come. No, I'm being frank. We have to take care of. We have to take care of our customers first,
and that makes sense.
I'm sure our customers would not want to know we went somewhere else when they needed us. And again, what we do, Trudy, is it's a lot of what we call preventative health care.
Yeah.
We set up the programs, we set up your nutrition, we do nutritional programs, we do healthcare programs, we do herd health programs, so that you don't need to be calling us, right? Really and truly, a lot of our farms that we set up like that, because we have knowledge and we know what you're doing, and we know, again, they've come back, most of the farms we've been to, they come back really, really nicely, and we're just a phone call away. Gabby, so, Dr. Young, so, this is happening. Because I know who you are, because I have trained you, because we know what's happening, I can easily say, okay, maybe this or that needs to happen. But again, even if it's an emergency, Trudy, you might have to call a private vet. Absolutely. And please, I put it this way, your animals are your investment. You spend so much money on them, and then you're going to quarrel about a $10,000 or $20,000. I try to understand, but sometimes I don't. And I'm going to say this, people don't realize, yes, I'm a vet, but I work for Nutrimix, right? I have my own farm. But guess what? There are times when I have to call a private vet because I am in Kwaito, Hanover, or I'm in Trelawney or somewhere, and I cannot reach back in time. So what do? Leave my animal to die? Or Dr. Cadogan, can you please go to my farm? So.
Absolutely.
And I pay him.
Absolutely. Yes.
I pay him. Don't
Yeah.
get fooled. I pay him because, I mean, he might say, Gabby, don't, but I still pay him because you know what? He has gas to pay. He has things to, I still pay him. You can believe me or not, that's what really happens. I travel a lot for Nutrimix. So when I'm traveling, I call Dr. Godogan and I say, Dr. Godogan, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. Swing by, blah, 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 blah. He knows.
Very good. Very good. So see, guys, it's your investment. You have to have a vet on call that you can call for any kind of emergencies because your Nutrimix vet should be everywhere because there are a lot of us. So you guys can't be everywhere. We have to remember that. Johan, thank you for sharing Dr. Young's email address for Leona and everybody else. So
Johan?
Johan Sebastian. He knows you. He knew your email address. Can we do a combination of sheep and goat in the pack of 6 for AI?
Yes. It's just the animal. It doesn't matter to us.
Very good. All right. Let's see. Somebody said they could listen for the next hour, Dr. Young. Dr. Ryan, I know. Well, you're interesting and you have a lot of good information. So everybody likes that. So Trisha says, I only use Nutrimix because I grow layer birds for CB. Okay. Very good, Trisha. All right. So anybody else?
So I'm sure we'll come see you, Trisha. That's
Trisha,
not a
they'll
problem.
come see you.
But I'm sure you have a vet attached to you already.
Yes. All right.
Yes, she does.
She does. Yes. All right. Am I missing anything? She does. Oh. Am I missing anybody? I think we had so many people may just not have the money. Well, Colin, that's true. A lot of people may not have the money, but it goes back to it is your investment to have these animals. So you have to figure out how to budget that in. It's the same thing if your child is sick, right? You're not just going to let your child sit there and sick. You're going to take them to the doctor and get medicine.
Okay, let me run some maths by you, right? Okay, and I understand money, right? I'm just like everybody else. I have expenses too, and I have kids, and I have everything too, right? Okay, so I would love for somebody or a farmer, Mr. Colin. You said people may not have the money. Answer this question for me. A farmer called me sometime in December. He had a mother that had a breech present. Well, the baby wasn't coming out. The goat kids weren't coming out. And he says to me over the phone, oh, it's a full-blood Nubian. Hear me? Okay, good. I said, well, so at that time, I think I had hurt my back and I wasn't feeling very well. So I said to him, I can't make it. If you want to bring the goat to Kingston, at that time, like I said, I was home on sick leave. I said, if you want to bring the goat to Kingston, he was in St. Catherine. I said, I will try get them out or I will help you. That's what I said to him, right? He can't do that. I said, okay, fine. I understand, no transport, whatever. I gave him a number of a private vet. The private vet said to him, it will cost you 20,000 for me to come do it. He says he doesn't have the money. No. He said, okay, I'll call you back. So then I called him because I'm concerned about the animal, right? For me, I those things bother me. So I called him and I said, what's happening? I don't hear back from you. Are you coming or did you get through the private vet? He says to me, why, doc, for true, I don't have that money. So I said, okay, did you speak to Dr. Watt and say that to him? He said, no. Excuse me. And I know Dr. Watt very well. He and I work very well together. If you don't have the money, people, talk to your vet and say, listen, be upfront though, but be honest. I don't have the money, but do you think I can pay you in parts? How about that? Because people need to understand, the vet, it's a profession. He has to use gas to get to you. He has sutures, he has drugs, everything. Why not propose that? Or how can I help you, doc? Or how can I pay you? There are other ways, right? He refused. Another farmer wait, and then I asked him, I said, so how much, out of interest, how much did you pay for this animal? He said he paid $80,000 for this female. I said, sir, and I said, you know why I'm asking you this? I said, let me say this to you. If those goat kids don't come out, she's good as dead. Know that. They're going to rot in her and she's going to be good as dead. So you spend 80, and he went, oh, and why I asked that too is he went on and on about it. Oh, you know how much money I spent on this animal? I said, okay, so you spend 80,000 on this animal, but you don't want to spend 20,000 to do a C-section. How that go? Tell me how that go. So you could find 80,000 to spend on an animal, but you can't find 20,000. And again, let's be frank, vets have expenses too. But you could say to the vet, Linton said, Dr. Watt called me back and he said, Gabby, why didn't he say something? I said, because he doesn't want to say anything. And you know what, farmers, if you do that to a vet or anybody, be honest now. And if you say you're going to pay them, pay them.
Pay them. Yes.
Even if it's $5,000 a month or whatever, you can pay them. They have expenses too.
It is a profession.
The man wasn't interested.
So what happened in the end?
I don't know. Oh, the animal died.
You just stop after that.
The animal died.
The animal died.
The animal died.
There you go.
It stayed alive for 5 days. It stayed alive for 5 days, suffering.
Mm-hmm. But you see that quite a bit, that people spend so much money on their animals and then they either don't take care of them, or when they're sick, they don't want to pay to get somebody there. And it's just like, really? Again, it's your investment. Why wouldn't you want to take care of your investment?
And I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you what happened. And I'm saying to myself, negotiate. But guys, because let me tell you, truly, I have done C-sections for people. They came, they didn't have the money. But guess what? Even a month later, they came and they gave me $5,000. Then another month, they came and gave me $5,000. It's the principle of the matter. It's not unnecessary sometimes. The money, yes, because my sutures cost money, my drugs cost money. But if you say you're gonna do it, I think you need to do it. That's my thought. If I'm good enough to do that for you, then
yeah. Natty Rob says, I trade farm produce for veterinary services. Hey, do what you need to do to take care of your animals. What do you have to trade?
Give me a flat eggs. Right,
something.
Give me a flat of eggs. Something like that.
And some chicken.
We have families. We have families to feed too. But that man, I mean, to this day, I don't understand it. He preferred to let the animals suffer and die. And sometimes you just have to let it go. I can't save everybody, and I'm not running myself into the ground. I've done that before, and I'm not doing it.
You can't. Can the same drugs used to stimulate the goat for the AI be used to synchronize the females for ram?
Ram as in a goat? A buck? You mean a buck? Yes, it's the same principles. Same drug, same principles.
Same principle. All right. Yeah.
So that's runs about $3,000. $3,000.
Yeah. So guess who's on? Samuel Golding is on, remember? Sam, he's saying C-section is USA ranges from $750 to $1,200 US. You got to pay. See how much cheaper it is in Jamaica? See, that's what we're talking about. We have it good here. Let's say, but again, we can't speak for everybody.
That's a human being. Yeah.
We can't speak for everybody, and we do understand that there are challenges, but you have to. We hope that most people factor that in when you get into the game, right? If you're going to have goats, you have to have money set aside for if things happen, and if you need to take care of the goats. So, it's up there. My vet service is about $100,000, and it saves piglets and mothers. Wow, $100,000 a year. Okay, a year. So you have to set money aside for it.
Oh, I'm I need to meet that vet because I'm really cheap.
It's for the year. $100,000 for the year.
I was like, damn, I'm not doing something right. I need to meet that person. I'm doing too much freebies.
I know. You gotta put.
And then my husband will
money aside. That's funny. All right. Well, Dr. Young, I know you are tired. Have money set aside or be your There you go. Somebody said have money set aside or be your own vet. Thank you. We definitely need to think about that. Is there any
But
Nutrimix vet that specialize in rabbits?
I do rabbits, but
Okay.
what specific? Yeah, I do
Yeah.
rabbits, but
Okay. All right. It's just I think it's just a matter
we
of
all
it
do
would be.
rabbits. We all do
Mhm.
rabbits. But the industry is a little fledgling and it's not.
Mhm.
It's working its way, but I don't know. It's a little
Yeah.
bit fledgling still.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dr. Young, I know you are super tired, and we really, really appreciate you spending time with us. You were long overdue. Remember, you were our second guest on the when we started this show. So I was like, we
Uh,
got to get Dr.
yeah.
Young back. Yeah. So you were long overdue to come back, and I'm glad we finally worked it out. And as always, you are a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. And we do appreciate your time and sharing all that information with us. Natty Rob said, do you do exotic birds as well?
No.
No.
Dr.
Nope.
Williams Gilbert? No, not my thing.
Okay.
Dr. Williams, Gilbert Williams in St.
Uh-huh.
Elizabeth, that's his little passion. Whereas goats and sheep are my passion.
Okay.
That's his passion, is exotic birds. So he has a lot of nice birds. So you find again that vets tend to specialize in what they
Yeah.
like to do.
Hmm.
But we do everything, we have to. But each one of us has our own little thing that we like, and we tend
Okay.
to be better at it than the
Hmm.
average. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Rebel said you can stay all night. All right. Thank you. Great episode. Valerie said thank you. Great episode. Frederick, if you're going into
Yeah.
rabbits, you have to learn fast. When I had 450 rabbits, I was my own vet. Okay. So, Frederick, you wanted to be a vet anyway. You wanted to do AI. Start with your rabbits.
Yeah,
So, anyway. All
try.
right. Thank you so much, Dr. Young. And go
You're
relax
welcome.
and eat the rest of your dinner. And I'm going to go eat my
Yeah.
dinner.
Oh, you
Very
eat so late?
informative. Yeah, well, not
Yeah.
intentional. Like you had a snack before and then you intended to eat before, and then, everything happened and life happened. So
Yeah. Well,
we
I
just
was
kind
at
of
the
have to finish.
farm and then it was, I don't know, the time just ran away with me and then I was trying to
Hmm.
get back in and then
Hmm.
I was just
I
like, oh crap.
understand. Trust me, I
Yeah.
understand. This whole week ran away with me because I was not here at the farm this whole week, and I'm like, oh, I missed everything. So I'll have to wait till you come back and visit again. So, all right,
Yep.
guys,
No
have a
problem.
great
Bye.
evening. Thank you guys
Have a
so
great
much for
night.
participating. Have a great night, Dr. Young, and we'll see you guys next
Bye.
week, same time, same place. See you guys. Have a good
Adios.
night.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.